Course I Still Love You drone ship. This will be stationed approximately 185 nautical miles off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. Let's see. And then the Dragon spacecraft supporting this mission previously visited the space station in September of 2014 for the CRS-4 mission. The initial time it flew, and then it flew again for the CRS-11 mission in June of 2017. Now, CRS-11 was the first mission that we used a previously flown Dragon, so it's exciting to refly the spacecraft that paved the way for Dragon reuse. Next slide. I'll actually jump forward a little bit. Okay. In June of 2017. Some other fun facts. This is going to be our second mission where we're flying a Dragon to the ISS for the third time, and our 8th mission where we're reflying a Dragon spacecraft altogether. We're also really excited to start flying Cargo Dragon 2, which starts on CRS-21. So these are going to be the missions we start flying for the CRS-2 contract. While Dragon 1 is certified for 3 flights, the cargo version of Dragon 2 is being certified for 5 flights. And our 8th mission, where we're reflying the countdown tomorrow morning will be very similar to past missions. We're going to start prop load at about T-minus 35 minutes. Following stage separation, the Falcon 9 first stage will head towards the drone ship, while Dragon stays attached to the second stage burns on and carries Dragon to orbit. After the second stage completes its burn, it releases Dragon into orbit about 9.5 minutes into flight, and then the solar arrays are going to deploy about 2.5 minutes after that. Then Dragon takes a few days, and early on the morning of Saturday, December 7th, around 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Dragon will once again rendezvous, be captured by the robotic arm, and berth with the space station, where it will stay for approximately 1 month. So I just want to thank our customer NASA, our partners at the Air Force Range and the FAA for all their support, and we're looking forward to a successful launch tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much, Jessica. And now for a weather update from our launch weather officer, Mike McAleenan. Mike.
Good afternoon. Weather's looking pretty good outside, with the exception of 40 degrees this morning. I think we're going to see pretty much the same thing tomorrow morning and through the day tomorrow. We may see some patchy fog or stratus around, but that will definitely burn off in time for launch, so we should have some pretty good viewing out there. But we can't make it too easy, so here's some issues we are looking at. Can I go to the satellite picture, please? All right, if you can kind of follow that blue streak of clouds from North Texas down into maybe Georgia, that kind of outlines the jet stream. And that's what's going to drift, drop a little bit south and kind of be just to our north tomorrow. Can you go to the forecast slide, please? All right, if you can kind of follow that blue streak of clouds from North Texas down into maybe Georgia to the first forecast day. And that's what's going to drift. Okay, well, I'll just talk through it then. No problem. Like I say, weather's looking really good. We have a 10% chance of a violation for liftoff winds, and very few of those clouds that you saw on the satellite picture showing up very high up, 25 to 30,000 feet. But what's not included in that probability of violation is upper level winds. And upper level winds with the jet stream are about 115 to 120 knots at about 20 to 30,000 feet. And that increase in speed and or change in direction with height is a problem for space vehicles. So that's not something that a human can look at and know what their issues are. Every launch is different. Every payload is different. But we can see that 120 knots is not good, and how fast that increases could be problematic. So that's really going to be the real issue tomorrow, I think. Liftoff winds, we put 10% on there, but I think the real concern is going to be upper level winds that are not included in that forecast. Okay, next slide for the backup day. Yay, the winds drop off at the upper levels and the low levels, but boo, the clouds kind of come in a little bit in the upper levels. There's a little upper level wave that generates some clouds, and it won't be as good viewing. Our rules indicate if those clouds drop below the minus 15 degrees Celsius level and are 45,000 foot thick or greater, then we won't be able to fly through that as a triggered lightning threat. So right now, I don't think it's a huge threat. The 20% is what we're going for probability of violation. But we're watching those. If we go to the backup day on Thursday, we'll be watching for those clouds and how low those bases get. If they stay above the minus 15 degrees Celsius level, which is around 20,000 feet on Thursday, then we'll be fine. If it drops below that, then that's where we're going to be running into trouble. So we'll be tracking that for the backup day. Other than that, again, it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Just a little chilly in the morning, but we're hoping that we can get through those up-level winds.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. So now we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions, as well as over our phone bridge and also social media by using the hashtag @NASA. For those here in this room, I just want to remind you to please raise your hand, wait for the microphone to get to you, state your name, your affiliation, and to whom you're directing your question. Also, we are accepting questions for CRS-19, so please keep your questions within the scope of this mission. So with that, I'll open up the floor here in the room. We'll go with in the front here, ma'am in the blue. I just want to remind you to please raise your hand.
Marcia Dunn, Associated Press for you, Kenny. I'm wondering if there are Christmas presents aboard the Dragon, any treats, fruitcake, candy cane, anything you can share. And if I could just ask a quick Starliner question. From a station point of view, do you just keep trying into Christmas, New Year's until you go, or is there a stand-down period when... Presents aboard the Dragon, any treats, fruitcake,
hey, Marcia.
anything you can share?
Presents. There's always goodies on a flight in general, right? So, typically we try to put some fresh fruit and some other things that we know mean a lot to the crews. As far as presents and so forth, I'm not sure I want to divulge anything, but I think I would tell you that Santa's sleigh is, I think it's certified for the vacuum of space. So we'll see what happens. As far as the Starliner goes, right now we're just we're working with the commercial crew program and really trying to understand what their launch schedule and what their opportunities look like relative to their vehicle processing. And right now what they're telling us is they can make the 19th. So from a space station program standpoint, that's what we're going to be ready to support. And if you really want to talk about what the end of the year holds, that's probably a better question for somebody in the commercial crew program. But anyway, we're going to be ready for them. We're working with the commercial crew program and really trying to...
Thank you very much. Gentleman in the red shirt, first row.
Chris Gephardt with NASA Spaceflight with a couple for Jessica. Why is this CRS mission not performing a return to launch site landing? Why are you aiming for the drone ship? And can you give us a status of the first version 2 Cargo Dragon and where that is in its process for its flight next year?
So the reason we are pursuing a drone ship landing this time is we are performing, so after Dragon is dropped off into orbit, the Falcon 9 second stage is going to continue on for a thermal 6-hour coast that then results in a distinction. And so basically what we have to do is burn the first stage for a performance reserved for that demo, since we're all the way back to the launch site. So we'll do a partial ship is located. And then, Cartery being built up. We are tracking a launch in Q3 of next year. So we're looking forward to volume. Dragon 1 carries 6 powered lockers. Dragon 2 is going to carry 12 powered lockers.
Not be grabbed.
Correct. It's autonomous docking. It is based and replace it with cargo racks.
Okay.
Being built up.
Next question, front row here.
We are tracking a launch in Q3 of next year.
Hi, Ken Kramer for Rocket STEM Space Up Close tomorrow. Concerned are you? They seem really high. How can standpoint?
Sure. So we've been analyzing them. So if we look at the predictions, we are okay. So we basically had our structures engineers and our guys won't exceed the vehicle capability. So the vehicle should be able to fly through these. But what we do tomorrow is we launch day of launch balloons. And what those will do is measure the actual winds as the balloon travels up. And so when we get that data, we can see, okay, was our prediction correct and we're still covered, or are the winds higher than we were predicting, in which case we may have to scrub until we start getting those balloons released.
Is there anything you can say about the Super Draco test you conducted a few weeks? Depends on that. Thank you.
It was great. So we had the Draco engines, so the orbit engines, and as well as the Super Draco abort engines. And so the static fire went great, and that.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and take a call from our phone bridge right now. I have Eric Berger with Ars Technica. Eric, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. Thank you.
Excellent. Go ahead and send your question.
This question is for Jessica Jensen.
It was great.
Could you
So
talk a
we
little
had
bit more about the second stage long coast
Draco
thermal
engines, so
test? Is that to
orbit
test the higher
engines, and
reentry?
I can't give too much more detail about it, but yeah, I can tell you it's a thermal demonstration that we're going to have to fly in the future. So basically, yeah, Dragon will be the main priority for tomorrow. We are going to measure the thermal environment in the tanks and other parameters as well, and then perform a long disposal burn.
To bring it back to the room, gentleman in the green sweater.
It's a thermal demonstration that we're
Emery Kelly with Florida Today. Question for Jessica.
going to have to fly in the future.
Vehicles, crew drive, production of Block 5. You know,
We were going to measure
we haven't really heard
the thermal
much.
environment
So
and
their new.
disposal burn. Sticking with it, you know, Block 5 really
Kelly with
enabled
Florida Today. Question for,
rapid and now, you know, going up into the, what are we getting into, 4th flights of boosters. So yeah, we're planning to stick with this version, and basically, you know, we were actually able to slow down a lot of the new builds since we're refurbing and reusing so many of these. I think we had
Production
2
of
missions.
Block
We've done
5,
2 missions now where we've landed the booster. So yeah, no, we are not planning for a Block 6. Great, and it's also crew rated, which is the really important part. With it,
Hi, Stephen Clark from Spaceflight Now. Question for Kenny Tide.
now, you know,
Since you have
going
2
up into
cargo
the- what are we
vehicles
getting into, 4th
going to be
flights of
arriving at the
boosters?
station within a
So,
couple of days
yeah,
of each
we're
other,
planning to stick with this
just
version,
curious about
and
any
basically,
scheduling
you know,
conflicts
we
between the
were actually
two.
able to slow down a lot of
Is
the
there
new
a
builds
point
since we're
where
refurbing and
SpaceX may have to
reusing so
stand
many
down
of
and let the
these?
progress
I think
go
we
and
had
then
2
pick up
missions. We've
attempts on
done
the other
2
side if it
missions
comes to
now
that?
where we've
Thanks.
landed the booster.
Yeah, that's a great question, Stephen. That's
So, yeah, no,
a
we're
dialogue
not
we've
planning
had
for a Block
multiple
6.
times through the years when we've had vehicles that
Great, and it's
come in
also
close
crew rated,
close
which is the really
proximity.
important
We tend to try to sort out a priority sort of scheme. In this
Hi,
instance,
Stephen Clark
right
from
now,
Spaceflight Now.
our
Question for
primary
Kenny
launch
Tide.
dates are the 4th and
Since you have
5th,
2 cargo
which
vehicles
put us
gonna
in
be arriving at
a
the station
situation
within a
where
couple of days of
where
each
we would
other.
not interfere with the
Just curious about any
progress.
scheduling
We
conflicts
had
between
some
the
discussions
two.
with our Russian. They were originally going to dock on the 8th, but we talked specifically about the scenario where if we had to do a 24-hour re-rendezvous instead of getting there on the 7th, we of our launch attempts on the 4th and the 5th, and so anyway, again, that's a in close like that. So yeah, it's a good question, and yeah, we worked that specifically for that scenario. Where if we had to do a 24-hour re-rendezvous,
Just